Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, some of the most important speeches you're going to give are your evaluations. Now you may not think of those as speeches, but in reality they are. They're more than impromptu speaking because you've had a little time to prepare. And then you have to come up in front of the group and give your presentation. So what I want to do today is tell you a little bit about how you could give an effective evaluation speech. Now, I'm not going to tell you how you can win the contests that are coming up, but this will give you a little idea of how you can make your speech more effective. Why do you want to do that? Who does it affect? It affects the speaker. For Kaz and Sharon and our Connie, our three evaluators today, they'll be coming up and helping our three speakers, Bob and who was the second speaker, Josette. And Josette and myself, of course, do better the next time. They'll also be helping themselves because they will be helping prepare themselves, be able to improve their listening skills, improve their communication skills. And certainly they're going to be helping each of you because you will listen from a different perspective of what is good and bad in someone's presentation or how they can improve it. So you'll learn a little bit from their evaluation on how you can improve your speaking. What are the two forms of evaluation? Well, you know what they are. The first is the oral evaluation. Someone comes up here and gives a little prepared speech. That's the speech we're going to be talking about. The other part is the written speech evaluation, and that's the important part of the book because that's the part we really will be able to bring back later on. There's 5 steps to an evaluation, but I like to put them into one little phrase, the golden rule. Evaluate others as you would want to be evaluated. Really comes down to that. Show that you're interested. Let's make sure that people see that the speaker sees that you want to help them. You want to be prepared. You want to work. There is an objective in each of the manuals, so you want to make sure that they're meeting that objective. And that person may have his own or her own objective, something she wants to improve on. So make sure you know that as the evaluator. You want to evaluate the speech, not the speaker. You may not like the person, you may really love the person, but you don't want to evaluate that part. You want to evaluate how well that person gave the presentation. So what do you want to evaluate? Well, there's several questions I always think about. There is the general purpose. There's 4 purposes, and that was already talked to you in one of the early manual projects that you had. You either want to give them some information, inform. You want to entertain, just have some fun. Or you may want to inspire them, make them feel good about themselves and about others. Or persuade them. Do they want to do something better, do something new? The objectives. What are the objectives that they want to achieve? And then, just as important, the message. Each speaker has a message that they want to provide to you. I want to help you get to be a better evaluator. Even a person who does very well in their speaking abilities can improve. There may be little things that they change around a little bit. So try and find those and listen for those. And certainly you would want to consider the person's ability, and their past practice, past information. When you ask what to evaluate, you've already been told what to evaluate. You all have had and are all working through the basic communication manual. What's the first thing it asks for? The icebreaker. You're trying to control your nervousness. Does the speaker look nervous? Does the speaker know what he's talking about? Well, the icebreaker, they talk about themselves, but later on they talk about something else. Speech number 2, does it have a good organization? Body, opening, and conclusion. Speech number 3, and the further one, does the speaker use notes? How well can they control and minimize the use of notes? Does the speaker use the right word? That's the vocal vocabulary. Number 5 is, does the speaker have good gestures, good body movement, good facial, good expressions, good eye contact? 6, well, voice. Not the vocal variety, it's the pitch, the stuttering, the little misses of the words, those pauses, the pauses that will help effectiveness. 7 is supporting your points. Now you're getting into the message and how it's organized and how they're presenting it, the information they're providing. The visual aids, if someone's using PowerPoint, if they're using a prop, how effectively are they using it? How distracting can it be? The 9 and 10 are really your inspiration and your motivation speeches. How well are the person asking you to do something, call to action? How much are they inspiring you to do better? You don't judge the person, as I mentioned, you don't judge the message, whether you like or agree with the message. You don't judge the facts. Bob mentioned $1.5 billion, or he mentioned watching Oprah and Fox News all the time at the same time. You don't have to judge whether that's correct or not. Just that he had provided some facts that supported his request and information. You have a handout. I've got the slides in here. I also have the judging form for evaluation of the contestants for international speech. And that's something for you to refer to later on. We talk about speech development. How well did the person organize their speech? How effective was it in inspiring the audience? And how valuable was it? How important was it to you as the audience? The delivery, there's 3 parts of delivery. The body language, the voice, the mannerisms. The language. Am I using words that are not familiar or make it difficult for you to follow? Am I using proper grammar? Am I using proper language? When you get up to the evaluation part, the oral part, you want to first start off. This is the part where you've already been preparing with all this information. Now you're coming up here. How do you start? Start with just, here's what your objectives were. Here's what you were trying to achieve. Here's the message I heard. Did you accomplish it? And please try not to say, that was the best speech I ever saw. You were wonderful. Come on, even if it were, it's maybe a little bit overboard. They always recommend the sandwich message. You hear that a lot. Give commendation, give a little critique, and give some challenge. This is what you did really well. Here's something you can do a little bit better. And next time I want to see some more information. I want to see you grow even more. Your evaluation, come on up here. You can use notes on an evaluation. You don't have to go without it, but you can. You can use the lectern if you want. In the contest, it's a little more difficult. They're usually off to the corner. Sometimes a lot of people use the front. But you're going to use the same Toastmaster techniques that we've talked about before that are in your basic 10 speeches. An evaluation speech is important. It's hard for you, I know. It depends on how much time you had to prepare. But it's also important for us that you do a good job, that you're prepared, that you're comfortable, that you give us some good information. With that, you'll do well, you'll help us, you'll help the club, and you may even win a contest. Adam Toastmaster.